CIO News. I'm Khushbu, Soni, your host for the broadcast and a contributing editor at CIO News. This is a recorded session and will be available on our website, which is cionews.co.in, and our CIO News LinkedIn handle. This is an exclusive fireside chat powered by Avaya on transformation through customer experience. Businesses are built by the experience they provide, and every day millions of those experiences are delivered by Avaya. Avaya is shaping what's next for the future with innovation and partnership that delivers game-changing business benefits. Let me dive in introducing my guest for today. He is Amlan Singh, Vice President and Head Customer Experience at India Infoline Group. Amlan has rich 27 years of experience in the customer experience management domain, with a demonstrated history of working in the financial services industry. He has a strong support professional skill in digital strategy, portfolio management, business relationship management, risk management, and customer experience. Amlan has worked for some of very well-known brands like Capital Trust, Barclays Finance, Adrian Ambrose. Welcome, Amlan.
Thank you. Thanks for the warm welcome and a very inspiring introduction.
Pleasure.
Let's begin.
Yes, I'm just trying to introduce Gavin. He's a domain expert across Avaya workforce engagement solutions. He has about 16 years of experience in managing contact center space globally and providing workforce optimization solutions. He's been working in roles like service delivery, workforce management as a service, pre-sales, consulting, and sales specialist across many global organizations. Welcome, Gavin.
Thanks, Khushbu. Really humbling words, and look forward to having a good conversation with Mr. Singh. So I think let's begin. And thank you so much, sir, once again for your time that you have spared in these times. I also looked at how Khushbu introduced you in terms of your experience and the time that you spent in the customer experience space. So one question that came to me while she was speaking about you is about customer experience. How would you measure customer experience in today's world, sir?
See, that means while there are multiple parameters and matrices which are used for customer experience management, one of it very colloquially known as NPS, the Net Promoter Score, or we can also call it CSAT survey and stuff. But my idea of customer experience management is how good are they my brand ambassador? If any of my customer is referring even one person to come to IIFL, get a new product with us, or an existing customer is coming to us for the second time and taking something more than what he was having earlier with us, that is my biggest or you can say biggest calculation of my customer experience, because only if the customer is happy, only if the customer is satisfied, only if he feels treated fairly,
right,
would he want to introduce someone to the organization, and he would want to be a repeat customer with us. See, in today's market, when the market is so competitive, pricing has not been the factor which will lure the customer to you, because almost everyone is dealing around the same pricing levels and same price points. So the only differentiator that would come in is the agility, the speed, and the customer experience. These are the three differentiator that will drag customer from A to B, or not let the customer go to A and come to B, or keep repeating coming to A or B, wherever he is right now. So as an individual and as a leader of customer experience, my biggest calculation is what is my repeat customer.
Okay.
What is my repeat customer, and how successful are the referrals? How many references do we have which are converting? So that decides that, yes, whether my customers are satisfied or not, no matter what feedback they fill in, what calculation they give in, what ratings they give us, if they are not coming back to me for their financial needs, that means they were not satisfied with me.
Great, great. And would you think leveraging any digital channels would just add to the value when you actually looking at customer experience?
See, digital strategy is no more a good to have platform. It is the need of the hour. You
Right.
can't survive if you're not digital.
Correct.
Because very to be very frank with you and to be very candid with you, so we did not see this coming. Nobody of us saw this COVID coming in and everything going for a standstill stuff. But IIFL as a brand has always been a pioneer in digital strategies.
Okay.
People were when people were other competitors, other financial industry was thinking about how to get digital. Our branches were computerless. We were on
Right.
tab already,
Okay.
so that any of my employee can move in anywhere and start doing the transaction he's supposed to do.
Hmm.
So we were one of the very few players who started the digital initiative almost 5 years back, 4 years back. But what this COVID or this pandemic has done for us is something that we could have achieved in 4 years or 5 years, we have done it in 1 year
Right.
because we had no other choice. Nobody had a choice. Like my entire call center is 100% operational from work from home.
Oh,
So it is
fantastic.
not that I'm working on the BAU model that okay, 20%, 30% capacity is working from home and remaining where I'm telling my customers that okay, I'm available with limited capacity and stuff. You will never find that with IIFL. Our
Hmm.
100% workforce is operational, whether it's a call center, whether it's my email, whether it's chat, any customer touch point is 100% operational. The day the customer wants, which prior to March 2020 when the pandemic and the lockdown started,
Hmm.
we are achieving the same service levels with the same window. We have not reduced the service window. We have not reduced the capacity. We have not increased our hold time for the customer. It's the same that was on in February 2020
Hmm.
as it's in May 2021.
Fantastic. So, with work from home, have you faced any challenges with monitoring the employee productivity? Like you mentioned, productivity levels have not dipped from pre-COVID era. So, how do you monitor these employees when they're working from home?
When they're working from home, see, monitoring, physical monitoring, we had stopped almost 2 years back.
Hmm.
We were monitoring them digitally. Like for means Avaya is one of the platform that IIFL is using
Right.
itself. Besides that, there are other platforms that we are using. So we have centers across India. Like we have a couple of seats in Hyderabad, we have a couple of seats in Bangalore, in Gurgaon, in Mumbai. So, anyways, physical monitoring for me is not possible because I cannot be available in all these four locations at one point in time.
Correct.
So it was always digital, and we have our technology when it comes to our dialers. We have a really good CRM support that we have. So it was predominantly digitally that we used to monitor. Yes, physical SMEs were there when people were working from office, but
Hmm.
now that facility is also available digitally, where my subject matter experts are there. My escalation desk is working from home. So if there is any query, they can dial a number which has been provided, a hotline number where they can talk to the subject matter experts or the senior executives who can help them with certain questions or answers that they are not aware of. So
Right.
that way monitoring. Yes, initially it was more to do with hardware than software that we had. Means our agents were not having the required bandwidth to connect to calls and all. So all that took about a quarter's time to get evolved. That we provided them with data cards and high speed networks and stuff, so that they can connect and do the calling bit or connecting on a video call, because not every person has that kind of bandwidth available at home
True.
to connect to the digital world. So that capacity augmenting on the digital side happened in the initial quarter, that was between April, May, and June. So July onwards, that problem subsided to a very low levels after that, and we have been working from the home for almost a year. Means like when the situation eased out a bit, we had called 50%, but there has been no day when we I had 100% staff available in my office since the beginning of lockdown one.
Perfect. So, wonderful story to tell with IIFL. You talked about performance being at par pre-COVID era. I was wanting to understand, would compliance or maybe any data breaches also come into picture with the work at home model? Because I've seen a few organizations actually struggling, and we had to actually intervene and support them on a few solution sets. So for
So,
IIFL, was compliance an issue initially?
see, as I said, that we had, even without seeing this coming, we had planned for a digital turnaround of the organization much before this pandemic struck us. So
Right.
we were already in the process of making things very agile for our employees, that they can work from any place possible in the world. I
Mhm.
have people who have been working from their native place for all good 1 year now. They have
Right.
never visited Mumbai, forget about coming to office. So they are in their hometowns and working from there for almost 1 year. So we had, or we have arrested or addressed these issues much before this actual situation came into place. And fortunately, we have a very strong infosec team available,
Right.
led by Mr. Shankar Ramlakhani, who's the CISO for the organization. And we had no issues of data breach as such till date, neither reported. We recently had a RBI, Reserve Bank of India, audit for the data breach and information security, and we are happy to know that we means like we came out with flying colors. We gave them all the scenarios. We opened our networks for them, that you can try accessing some information, but even RBI auditors could not get into our systems, that matter. So data breach has been not been a worry for us. Thankful, touchwood, thankfully.
Fantastic, fantastic. It's good to hear that the pre-planning of digital strategy has actually helped you in delivering in these hard times. That brings to me to a discussion around cloud. What do you think about the technology that is now all being migrated into cloud, and what are the factors that you consider if you would consider migrating yourself to a cloud?
Um, uh, Honestly speaking, we are already on cloud. Most of our applications are already running on cloud.
Oh wow.
Whether it's our LOS, whether it's our LMS, whether it's our CRM, they are
Hmm.
all cloud-based platforms. So we hardly have any in-premise server kind of application that is running.
Right.
As I said, that our the chairman, Mr. Nirmal Jain, he is one of a very few but very tech-savvy person that I have come across in my career in the financial service space. So we have moved to cloud almost 3.5 years back.
Wow.
So
That's
most of
really
our
nice to hear.
applications are already in cloud. Like our dialers are on cloud, our
Hmm.
CRM is on cloud, our loan origination system is on cloud, our loan management system is on cloud. So most of our products are already on cloud. In fact, our LOS is working on app, mobile.
Right, right. So were you part
So
of
it's on
that
Android and Play Store.
cloud strategy? Sorry to interrupt you, sir. So I was just wanting to understand, were you also part of that cloud strategy, and what were the factors that you put
On
in
the
place?
implementation side, no, I have been more of a user than implementation strategy of the cloud.
Okay. So any specific factors that you thought when the organization was moving to cloud were really important to you, and you would put forth maybe in your meetings talking about that, okay, if you're moving to cloud, these are the parameters that I need to have in my day-to-day job.
See, when I was moving to cloud, I had basic two requirements. One is information security, of course,
Right.
because from in-premise, where everything is under my command, my control. So more than, it was more for psychological, that if things are going on cloud, will my data will be secured?
Right.
Is it available to the entire world, because it's somewhere in the cloud which I don't even know where it
Hmm.
is residing? Till to it was available in a server that is hosted in my premise. So
Right.
data security was one concern that I had, and second was availability of information. Because if my information is not available at the right time,
Hmm.
then that information becomes obsolete for me.
True. True. Absolutely.
So, and the third factor, which obviously any entity or organization would consider, is the latency. Means if all my users access that particular platform at one point in time, we have approximately 18,500 employees across India, the IIFL group.
Right.
So if all of them are accessing a particular information at one given point in time, will I get the information that I'm seeking for?
Right.
So
Key
these were my
aspects.
three
Yeah.
requirements that
Right.
I was looking for. So we had a long discussions, meetings, staffs, presentations that happened that, okay, this is the security level that we are complying to. And these are our audit firms, these are our consulting partners who will be ensuring that the data security is at the highest level. Second, we are going to be conducting extensive tests on the accessibility, user base and stuff. And only after that, because to give you some perspective, that we are working with 2,500 branches across Pan India. Each branch has a minimum composition of 5 employees.
Right.
And all of them, so the 2,500 into 5 means 12,500 people access the particular application that is used for loan origination and management at one given point in time between 9:30 to 6 in the evening.
True.
And all of them are accessing at the same time. But still, we are thankfully we have not been facing issues that, okay, the response is slow or we are not getting the right kind of feedback. In fact, our entire system is on cloud, and our entire journey is digital. Customer journey is digital.
Fantastic.
So that requires certain very huge data files being moved, like customer photographs, images, ornament images moving on the cloud. But we have never, thankfully, we have now faced an issue with accessibility on that part.
Perfect, sir. And that also brings me to a prominent question these days. People talk about analytics, people talk about AI. Is it actually prevalent in your domain in a day-to-day world? Or it's just a jargon that most people are talking about
No,
today?
definitely not. See, it's a very layman explanation. I believe in giving examples understood by layman, because me and you are from the industry, we can understand. But if I have to explain it to a telecaller who's sitting there what AI does for me,
Right.
I may not be able to give him an example that you and me can understand. So it's very like you have limited number of resources, whether it's human resource and all. So unless and until you make your systems intelligent, everything will have to be done by a human being.
Right.
And every human has a recurring cost.
Correct.
So if you have to sustain in this world, besides, every human has a limitation. I have never seen a bot or an artificial intelligence tool telling me that I will not work after 7 o'clock. I have to cook food at home.
True. Yeah.
So they are available 24/7 to us. So first, they give you a horizon that is way beyond any human being can give. And if by any chance, if you're still stuck to the old school and you want human support out there, then you would have to invest hugely in managing shifts and stuff. So, and what my experience in all these years have been that 70% of your requirements are recurring in nature.
Right.
Customers don't come and ask for something out of the box all the time. It's like 70% of the time these are usual questions that they ask, 30% are nuances. So 30%, obviously we will support it, but for the 70%, let the system do the hard work.
Correct.
Why do I even want my human being to waste his time in generating? For a very layman example, why do I waste someone's time, any individuals, to generate a statement and email it across to someone? Why should individual do that? Even if it takes just 3 minutes, but why should he waste that 3 minutes when a system can do it in no time?
Right, makes sense. It's given me a different perspective today, sir, from certain organizations that I've interacted with in the past, struggling with these digital platforms in terms of processes. But I think your company's thought process and pre-planning, right, even before any disaster like a pandemic has hit us, you've already taken those steps and put in measures, uh, keeping in mind performance, keeping in mind compliance, and keeping in mind the customer experience, right? So that's really wonderful to hear from you today. I really had an insightful session, learned a few things, and definitely I'll try and apply it with my customers when I have a good dialogue. That's it from me today. Any inputs?
One point that I would want to add is, means I have been attending multiple webinars nowadays, and that has become the new seminar, a webinar. And people say that digitization is everyone's job. Digital world journey is everyone's job. While I partially agree to that, my very clear vision is that it is a top-down approach. If it comes from top, if till the time your management is tech savvy or digitally inclined,
Mhm.
everyone cannot function. So it has to be a very top down approach that somebody has to envision it. You cannot expect a junior level employee to envision a digital strategy for you.
True.
So it has to be thought through at a much senior level and then percolated down like any other policy. So digital strategy should be like a policy framework or a parameter that it's thought through at level, inputs taken at all level, and then percolated down to the junior most level possible.
I
Give you a
completely
very,
agree with that. Yeah.
the very common example that I have seen in most of the organizations where I have visited. At
Mhm.
the security, you maintain a register where somebody enters his name, mobile numbers, so on and so forth.
Right.
If you walk into you can walk in as you can do a mystery shopping yourself, walk into any IIFL gold loan branch.
Okay.
They will have that on a tab. They will take
Nice.
down your mobile number, everything, and get a OTP authentication, take your photograph on a tab, completely paperless experience. So how difficult it is. It's the simplest thing that you can do in today's life. We have done away with so much of paper that also helps in managing climate, because
Yeah.
obviously otherwise the registers were huge
Mhm.
and they were at the end of the day wasted.
Yeah, it's of no use actually. They were just
Yeah.
filling some rooms back
So
then.
we move it to digital. Our even our gate passes, if you go to our central offices and stuff, they are digital. We don't issue any printouts or anything of that sort. We issue a card. You take
Okay.
that card is accessible for that particular floor. Go there. So these things are small nuances that you have to build in. Like our attendance system, there is no punching in, punching out. You just walk into the office. Means when the attendance time was there, then
Mhm.
the system just recognizes your face and marks the attendance. There is
Right.
no card punch in, fingerprint, nothing of that sort. So that's what I have learned in this organization with IIFL past 7 years, that you have to keep evolving, you have to keep thinking of new way and improved ways to
Mhm.
make things more system driven than human driven.
Absolutely. I think I've seen organizations that have not chosen to change the way they work and have actually perished, right? So the way forward is to acclimatize and change the way of working. Perfect. So thank you so much, sir, for your time. I really appreciate your time today and look
Thank
forward
you
to
so
meeting you
much
in person
for having me.
whenever I visit
Definitely.
Mumbai.
Done. Be my guest. Thank you so
Thank,
much. Thanks to you.
Thank you.
thanks, Amlan. Amlan, I just wanted to, before we end the session, two things. One, I just wanted to get your experience on the CIO News platform and sharing your insights. If you would just want to share your experience with us.
So this was my first interaction with CIO News. I have been in multiple webinars and seminars earlier as well, some guest speakers and so on and so forth. But again, as I said, I am a person who's very digitally inclined. This is the first digital interview that I have given. Earlier, it
Wow.
was all physical interviews that I used to give, where someone was sitting right in front of me and asking questions and stuff. So this is one of the very first digital interviews of mine, and honestly, it has been a very good experience. And now I realize that why should I even waste time traveling? We can have it's more convenient sitting in my office and discussing it in front of my computer rather than traveling all the way to which part of the Mumbai they would call
Correct.
me, and all that hassle is saved. So it was a really good experience and pleasure being with you guys, and some very insightful discussions that we had. Knowledgeable people like Gavin available. So they are also one of the assets. I'm trying things that, okay, how can I, while I'm speaking, while he's speaking, there are certain pointers that just come to your mind. I make a note of it, and then we can take it forward from there. Possibly that will help me further in digitizing my organization.
Right.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you so much, Amlan, for your insight. And that brings to an end of our fireside episode. Thank you once again, Gavin, for driving and moderating the whole session.